My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is what we do in the light. You may have seen the hilarious show What We Do in the Shadows on Netflix. Thank you for giving me this title. It's very funny. If you haven't seen it, give yourself like 6 episodes. Learn the characters, and you'll find it's really well written, probably. Teach their own. I want to talk about what we do in the light, what we bring into the light of our awareness. There are some ways that two-leggeds are doing this in very bold and very brave ways. They're bringing things into the light of awareness. There's a lot of light of awareness around concepts like Black Lives Matter. Now, this can be held in a lot of different ways. I've had conversations with people about it when I wear shirts like this or a mask that says it. And a lot of people will want to respond with all lives matter. And no. No, actually, no lives matter because everything's made of emptiness. So if we're going to deal with that term of matter, no lives matter. But if we're going to deal with mattering, like having a quality of having value within a given system, this statement does not say only Black Lives Matter. It doesn't say just Black Lives Matter. It never has said that. It doesn't say that. It's not going to say that. So when someone says something like this and you respond with all lives matter, it is, there's something happening in your consciousness, because this statement, and people, I've had people that are a part of the Black community that are not behind this organization. They're like, this woman's just trying to get money, and we can all have our own opinions of things. For me, everything comes down to consciousness. It comes down to the content of the consciousness. This statement, I as a white person 50 years ago would have gotten stink eye for walking around saying or wearing a shirt that this says. And today I can wear a shirt that this says or a mask that says this, because we are starting to acknowledge and flush up from under the rug of humanity that racism still occurs. There's still a KKK. People that can be judges, police officers that may be in a position to serve and protect can be racist. You can have racism in any job, actually. And it definitely never has and never will mean that every person that holds that job title is a racist. So that's ignorance, let's not just take ignorance and apply it to any topic in the universe. We have to recognize that diversity is present, which is part of what this statement does. When we start to consider people of color, their lives, their culture, Black lives, their culture, things that may, in a culture that tends to focus in a specific vein of life, in a specific look of life, I can't tell you how many times I as a woman have received that a petite female with large breasts, a large buttocks, blonde hair that is long is the appropriate way to look. That is sold to me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and has been for decades. Now, if you have that form, there's nothing wrong with having that form, but that's not the only form that we can find beauty in. And so some of the things that we're doing is we're starting to take out into the light of our awareness, and shine light upon things that need attention. Murdered and missing Indigenous women, MMIW. There are Indigenous women that go missing, that get murdered. This is an issue that needs to be addressed. We need to put the light of our awareness on that. Pedophile rings, sex trafficking rings, child sex trafficking rings. These are all things that are flushing up in the modern age that it's important to put the light of our awareness on if we want them to be different. We can be complacent and therefore complicit with what's going on when we don't allow ourselves to enter conversations and to evolve into awakening that life matters. And a Black life matters, and a person of color matters, and an Indigenous life matters, and a trans life matters, and an Asian life matters. And there can be just tremendous ignorance on every topic I just said. Because ignorance is one of the things that's offered down here in a free will zone. So the more that those of us that are ready to embrace the all, embrace life, step into greater fullness, move away from suffering and strife and step towards union, communion, unity, harmony, the more we can shine the light of our awareness on that which needs cleaning. In that same vein, we can do that with the self. In my experience, a component of emotional health is being able and willing to look at the self. What is my growth edge? Where do I need to evolve? How am I playing small? Am I talking ugly to myself, to my sacred temple of a two-legged? Am I believing negative things about the world? Am I paranoid instead of having pronoia or assuming that the universe conspires in my favor? Checking in with your relationships, checking in with the person you be, checking in with what you're choosing, checking in with the content of your consciousness. So part of light is shining light, the light of your awareness, on you as an individual, because all beings have growth edge. All beings have evolution work to do. How do you know if you've got growth edge and evolution work to do? You'll be in a flesh costume. If you're in a flesh costume, you got work to do. And it doesn't mean you're bad, and it doesn't mean you're wrong if you need to move from infancy or adolescence into adulthood or wisdom, or evolve in the stages of growth and learning that I learned through the School of Metaphysics. It doesn't mean you're bad or wrong if you need to learn and grow on any topic in the entire universe. You have the right to grow. You have the right to learn. You do not have to know or be perfect, which is a normative expectation of many adults, specifically down here. You're grown. You should know better is a common statement. And it's like, no, we've all had different teachers as children. So let's calm down on that. Some of us were fed more poison, so it's a longer journey to get to the medicine. So let's just calm down on expectations of where others should be in their journey of evolution in the living tree. Everything gets to evolve at its own rate. That's called free will. But can we take the light of our awareness and shine it on where evolution is needed for others, because we have the capacity to be outward focused and to be considerate even of labels that we don't hold? How much attention do you place on the autistic community? What are you doing there? How much attention do you place on the elderly if you're not one? What are you doing to care for that community? How much attention do you place on people that have cerebral palsy or children with cerebral palsy? There are many aspects of existence that it's like, not my label, not my problem. And actually, everything is made of atoms, and they're all touching. They're all have an electrostatic charge, and subatomic particles bounce off each other, but they do that in a unified field of 99.99999% emptiness. So it's a huge empty field with a little bit of matterness, and it does affect you. Any suffering affects you, and all suffering is unpleasant. So it's important when we start to consider that Black Lives Matter, and we consider people of color, we consider Indigenous lives, and we consider Asian lives, and we consider Muslim lives, that we don't also decide to start hating all white lives. Or maybe we've been doing that forever. Maybe white lives have been the enemy all along, and we've been doing that for ages, and that's the lyrics in our song. All lives have suffering, and they have grace, and they experience those to different levels in this place. And I do believe it's a just universe, because I'm not a YOLOer. I don't believe you only live one time. I think you live many lives. And I think we face the exact design that's perfect, whole, and complete for us to come into balance. And because time, for me, is illusory, past, present, and future will actually all occur synchronistically. There are multiverses, as a multiverse theorist, quantum physicist. That means that I actually don't even believe that I'm just Heather Mackey, and all the culture she's been, and all the gender identification she's been, and all the sexual expression she's been for all the past lives and then the future lives where time gets linear, and that's how we hold it in the paradigm. But I actually believe that Heather Feather is every life that has ever lived, every blade of grass, every drop of water, and the atoms that make that an animated force, every human being that has ever existed. And because it, of course, cannot be separated, any suffering in the all is my suffering. So it matters. It matters. It matters for me to consider that which is a label that I'm not currently holding in this flesh costume paradigm of over here as we do over there. But we are a little over-identified with over here and over there. It's like, you don't hold this label, so you don't understand my suffering. It's like, I am you. So yeah, I do. Actually, I may not be comprehensively perceiving it from the perspective of standing in your flesh costume right now, because I'm so preoccupied with standing in my own. But to me, spirit is one thing. It's the animating force of life. It's in everything that ever is, was, or will be. So every moment of love that is expressed, every light of love that we share and we bless, expands more light of love and blessings in this realm to the all that is, to the one spirit that's animating all of this life. Why are we so addicted to competing for our suffering, competing for our strife, and being right about our separation? what do you gain from that? What do you gain from being so separate in your separate little labels? They're all labels that the ego made up, you know? You're just atoms bumping up against other atoms. So same thing, bumping up against same thing. And the rest are the stories that we tell because we have cognitive reasoning brain. Congratulations. So silly, everybody. Do you see that that's silly? We can shine the light of our awareness not only on others and how we can be more medicinal, more service-oriented, more love in the world and shake more love in the web, but we can also shine the light of our attention on ourselves and our own growth edge. And additionally, we can shine our attention with ourselves and with others on what is working, what does serve, what is a gift about you, what is a gift about me and all that I do and all that I be and all that I see in the living tree, and even that which people have chosen to not perceive in me as they place me in a tiny box that have missed an entire paradigm of what I be. So like you can shine light, even if others refuse to, on the gift that you are, on the medicine that you are, even if they're not able to see you. You can choose to see you. You can shine the light of the awareness on the gift that you be. You can be kinder with you. You can be kinder with the life that you are stewarding. Gentler, shining the light of your awareness every day, a little bit on the gift that you're being and the evolution that you're doing and the ways that you've grown from the things you thought you didn't know that you're starting to find known because you're expanding, because you're evolving. So we can put our attention on that. There's this component, I think it's beautiful as we shine what we do in the light around things like the Me Too movement and around equality for women tends to be the topic with feminism. Feminism, again, means equality of the sexes. In order to have equality of the sexes, women would be recognized in a conversation and not constantly invalidated or treated like they're crazy as if men aren't crazy too, or being given labels of being gold digger as if there aren't men that are totally taking advantage of women financially right now. We wouldn't do this gender-based, genitalia-based labeling system, but we also would understand that there are egregious crimes, humanitarian crimes that men face. Many men will come into the world and have the tip of their penis removed, which is extremely traumatic and a very tender part of the body, and then be conditioned and indoctrinated into a system that says they don't have the right to cry. To me, it is a deeply egregious humanitarian crime to teach a human that they don't have a right to feel a feeling that we know to be part of the innate design. And how do we know that? Most babies, the first thing they do upon arrival is cry. Clearly part of the design, clearly okay and fine. So I think it's important as we shine the light of our awareness on different topics that we don't use that light to cast a shadow on something else. If you're going to shine the light of your awareness on the value of all these different cultures that have been ignored, we don't need to cast a shadow on what it means to be white. Because what you don't understand as we look at cultures is that every being has suffering, first of all, so you can just ignore that and act like you're white, you don't know, you just constantly have privilege. It's like, well, that's interesting because I buried over 50 people. I've been in a ton of car accidents. I started getting sexually assaulted when I was 4. I lost my virginity to rape. There are privileges I have because of this color of flesh costume, but you can trust there's a lot of suffering I face, irrespective of the color of my face. So we can have reverence that suffering is present for all. When we speak about women suffering and the crimes that they go through and what they have to deal with, we can consider this for men too. Men get sexually assaulted. Genderqueer people, they get sexually assaulted. Trans people get sexually assaulted. They get bullied and abused and vilified. So we can also shine the light of our awareness in freedom of expressing our truth. If you are gay, bisexual, pansexual, LGBTIQ+, if you're part of this community, you can give yourself the freedom to shine light on the truth of your being. If you are, somebody that has specific offerings from your culture, you can shine light on the value that you hold. And we can be mindful while we do that. If the intent is to shine light, if the intent is greater reverence, if the intent is greater love, then let us be the love that we're knocking on the door and asking the door to open and illuminate in our realm. Let's be the love to the all. Let's praise ourselves. Let's look at our growth edge. Let's praise others. Let's consider the light of love and who we be and how we choose to stand in the living tree. May you love yourself. May you shine the light of your awareness on your growth for your own health. You can always go to rearbirdmedicine.com. There are services there. Blessed be.